morning to all of you. In the previous class, we have learned about the Gray-Batch normal form. So in the previous classes, we have seen that the Chomsky normal form and Gray-Batch normal form. Those two are comes under normal forms. Okay. And the next part is the third part. Just I have already mentioned that in this unit we have total three parts. The first part is related to context-free grammar. What is meant by context-free grammar and the derivations of context-free grammar, that is leftmost derivation, rightmost derivation, and then past tense. All these are comes under part 1. And the part 2 is the simplification and the normal forms. So all of you know that the simplification means we have to follow total 3 steps. One is the elimination of epsilon production. Second one is the elimination of unit production, and the third one is the elimination of useless symbols. So this is the simplification part. After that, the normal forms. So the main important thing is the normal forms. So here in this case we have two types of normal forms. One is Chomsky normal form and the second one is Gray-Batch normal form. So in the Chomsky and the Gray-Batch, these two normal forms, the step 1 is simplification. Okay. So this is about the part 2. Part 2 means simplification and then normal forms. And the third part is the pumping lemma and the properties. Okay, the third part is the pumping lemma for context-free languages, followed by the closure properties of context-free grammar or context-free languages. So in this class, I will explain about the pumping lemma for context-free languages, followed by the properties. Okay, so the pumping lemma. So in the second unit, in the previous unit, we have already learned about the pumping lemma for regular languages. The concept is same. The pumping lemma concept is same. But the thing is, in the previous unit, we learned about the regular languages. Now, in this unit, we have to learn about the context-free languages. So, the main purpose of the pumping lemma, whether it is a regular language or context-free language, whatever it is, the first thing is, the main purpose of the pumping lemma is to prove certain languages are not regular. If it is a regular language, then we say that prove certain languages are not regular. Whereas in this case, it is related to the context-free languages. So, to prove certain languages are not a context-free languages. So, the main objective is same. The pumping lemma objective is same. Whether it is a regular language or context-free language, whatever it is. Suppose if it is a regular language means, the pumping lemma for regular language means to prove certain languages are not regular language. Same way, if it is a context-free language means to prove certain languages are not a context-free languages. Okay. In regular language, you have to take the string is UVW. You have to take the string is UVW. Only 3 symbols. The string length is 3. UVW. Only 3. Now, whereas in this case, in context-free language, we are taking total, the string length is 5. In context-free language, we are taking the string length is 5. That is U, V, W, X, Y. U, V, W, X, Y. The string length is 5. So, this is the statement. Statement for the pumping lemma. For every non-finite context-free language, there exists a constant N that depends on L, such that for all Z in L with the condition is mod Z greater than or equal to N, you can write Z as U, V, W, X, Y. So here the string length is 5. Whereas in a regular language means we take the Z value is UVW. Here the string length is 3. This is the only the difference. Remaining approach is same as it is. Okay. So here the Z is U, V, W, X and then Y. Now these are the conditions. Same as in a regular language. So one is Vx not equal to epsilon and the length of Vwx less than or equal to n, and then for all I greater than or equal to 0, the string u v power I, so this is v power I w x power I y is in L. Suppose this value is not in L, then automatically you can say that the given language is not a context-free language. Suppose whereas if you observe compared with the regular language means we can take the string is like this u v power I w. Whereas in context-free language we can take the string is u v power I w x power I y, where the I value starts with 0 to infinity. Okay. See, one important use of this pumping lemma is to prove certain languages are not context-free. Just now I have already mentioned that the main objective or the main purpose of the pumping lemma is, whether it is a regular language or context-free language, whatever it is, the main objective is to prove certain languages are not a regular language, or to prove certain languages are not a context-free language. So this is about the pumping lemma statement. Now we will see one example. So see the example for the pumping lemma. So here take the language L equal to a power n, b power n, c power n, where the n value is greater than or equal to 0, is not context-free. So just now I have already mentioned that. See, if you observe in the question, they did not mention the word pumping lemma, but the question is related to pumping lemma only. The question is related to pumping lemma. But the pumping lemma word is not mentioned in the question itself. Okay, because here the thing is, the language L is not context-free. Whenever comes under not context-free, not regular means, that is nothing but the pumping lemma concept. Suppose it is not a regular language, it is not a context-free language, that means nothing but it is related to the pumping lemma problem. Okay. Now, first write the language. So language L equal to, so here the condition is a power n, b power n, c power n, where n value starts with 0 to infinity. Suppose now take n value starts with 0. Now take n value 0. So a power 0 value is epsilon. Same way, b power 0 value is epsilon, c power 0 value is epsilon. All of you know that very well. Anything power 0 is nothing but epsilon. So here the minimum string is epsilon only. Minimum string is epsilon. Now the take n value is 1. Now what is the value? A power 1, b power 1 and then c power 1. So the string is a, b, c. Now take n value is 2. A square, b square, c power c square. So that means a square means a, b square and then c square. Next one, take n value 3, like that. Take n value 3, 4, 5, 6, like. Suppose 3, triple A, triple B, triple C, like that. Suppose if you take n value 4, A power 4, B power 4, C power 4, A power 5, B power 5, C power 5, like that. Now this is the language. Now, so in this process, so many approaches are there, but we have to follow the simple approach. Just I have already explained in the previous unit also, the same approach is followed here also. Okay. Now first starts with the z value. So here what is the z value? Z means nothing but the string. So here z means the value is u, v, w, x, y. So take z equal to u, v, w, x, y. This is the z string. If you observe the length of the string, the length of the z is 5, u, v, w, x, y. So that's why, so here if you observe the given language, the minimum string is epsilon, that means the length is 0. The next one, the length is 3, and the next one, the length is 6. Suppose now we are compared with z equal to u, v, w, x, y. So here the string length is 5. That's why in the language means nothing but the set of strings. We have to choose the string which the length is minimum 5. Okay, then only it is easy to compare with UVWXY. Suppose if the length of the string is less than 5, it is somewhat difficult to compare with UVWXY. That's why, based on this string, based on the comparison string Z equal to UVWXY, now you pick one string which is the length of the string is minimum 5. Okay, now here the string length is 0. In this case, the string length is 3. Now, in this case, the string length is 6. Now, take the string is AA, double B, double C. Now, take Z equal to AA, double B, double C. So, here the length of the string is 6. Okay. Now, it is easy to compare with UVWXY. Now, compared with what is U value, what is B value, what is W, what is X, and then what is Y. Now, see one by one. Now start with U. Now U equal to nothing but the first value, first symbol here. V means nothing but the second symbol. See, compared with only one symbol. Okay, because we are taking the string is minimum, the string length is minimum 5. Don't take the much more length. Okay. Now take W equal to B and X equal to B and Y equal to the remaining string. Y equal to remaining string, that is C. Now this is the comparison. U value is A, B value is A, W is B, X equal to B, and then Y equal to C. Now, if you take the last condition, what is the last condition? Now compare with U, V power I, W, X power I, Y. U, V, W, X, Y. Now in this case, take I equal to 1. What is the value? U, V power 1, W, X power 1, Y. This will be equal to, U means nothing but A. V means A, so A power 1. W means B, X means B, B power 1, Y means CC. What is the result? The result is double A, double B, double C. So here the resultant string double A, double B, double C, it belongs to language, because the string is belongs to the language. So it belongs to language. So it is a valid string and the language is good. Now if you take next value, now take the I value is 2. Now you can write U, V power 2, W, X power 2, Y. Now what is the U value? A. V value means A square, W, V, X means B square, Y means C square. What is the result? The result is A square, that means A cube, triple B, double C. Actually, after this string, we have the string, the length. Here the language meaning is A power n, B power n, C power n. That means equal number of A's followed by equal number of B's followed by equal number of C's. Now whereas in this case 3A's followed by 3B's followed by 2C's. Actually this string, it is not in this list. In a language the string contains 3A's followed by 3B's followed by 3C's. But whereas in this case obtained string is triple A followed by triple B followed by 2C's. Actually this string, it does not belong to this language. Okay. So once even any one language is failed, then the entire language is not a context-free language. So because triple A, triple B, double C does not belong to L. So therefore the given language is not a context-free language. Okay. So in this way we can prove that certain languages are not a context-free languages. Same approach we have followed the same approach in second unit. That is the regular language also. But in that case, the regular language means we can take only UVW and compared with UV power IW. But whereas in this case, in the context-free language, the string length minimum is 5. So that's why Z value is u v w x y, and the comparison is u v power I w x power I y. So this is the process. So in this way, we can prove the given language is not a context-free language. Okay. And the next topic is the properties of context-free languages. This is the closure properties. See here, the proofs are need not required. In examination point of view, simply you have to write what are the closure properties. See here, it is related to the context-free languages only. In the second unit also, we have learned the closure properties of regular languages. Same way here, we have to learn the closure properties. We have to learn the closure properties of context-free languages. So in this case, here the context-free languages are closed under. The one is the substitution. All of you know that. And the second one is the union, which is already covered in the previous unit, that is the second unit. And the concatenation, cleanest stop, homomorphism, reversal, intersection with a regular set, and inverse homomorphism. Okay, all these are topics which are already discussed in the previous unit. See, here these are the context-free languages are closed under the things. Similarly, these are the context-free languages which are not closed under. The one is the intersection, and the second one is the complement, and the third one is the difference. Okay, these three are not comes under the context-free languages. Remaining all are closed under context-free language. Okay, so in this class, we have discussed about what is meant by pumping lemma. And the definition of the pumping lemma, and solved with one example, followed by the closure properties. Okay, thank you.